Well, with thousands of delegates from over 180 countries attending the Blue Economy Conference happening in the country, communication is key and language barriers need to be dissolved. As the official languages service provider, Tamarind Translation is providing English, French translations and interpretations during the three-day international event. Malika Kazia now speaks to the founder and managing director of the company to tell us more. Over to you, Malika.
Coming to you now from the KICC, where the Blue Economy Conference is taking place. We've got over 180 countries, more than 11,000 delegates, of course, right now in Nairobi, all in order to discuss the water bodies and how we can harness their power economically. In fact, more than $1.5 trillion are usually given to the economy globally via maritime industry. So a very important initiative happening right now. And of course, since you have people from so many different countries, you need translation because not everybody speaks the same language. And so Tamarind Translations has come into play here, and they have been in Kenya since 2008, but they were formed many, many years ago in Sweden. And I have joining me the founder and owner of Tamarind Translations, that is Britt Marie Seeks, who's going to tell us more. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so tell me, how many interpreters and translators do you have for this event right now?
For this event here, we have 36 interpreters and we have 10 translators. And our languages for this conference is between English and French.
Okay, and when you talk about interpreters and translators, you were telling me there's a difference there and people don't always understand it. What is that?
An interpreter interprets verbally. Interpreter has got to be at the same place. A translator writes a translation, and he or she can be anywhere in the world. With internet and online, the translations are made anywhere. But our 36 interpreters are here.
Okay, and when you were formed, when you first came to become Tamarind Translations initially, where did it start and what was the idea behind it?
If we go back quite a few years, I came to Kenya in the early 70s. I and my husband built the Tamarind restaurant in Mombasa, and that's of course where the name Tamarind Translations comes from. I went back to Sweden and started Tamarind Translations, the Swedish company, and after about 15-20 years I thought Kenya and Nairobi needs a professional translation agency. So I started this Tamarind Translations here in 2008. So we're celebrating 10 years here now.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. And finally, what do you expect to come from this conference and what are your thoughts on it in general?
What I expect from this conference, as far as we're concerned, is that we do a very good job, that we bridge the language gap across the languages and across the nations, and that everybody is happy with our work. That's what I hope.
All right, thank you so much. That was Britt Marie Seeks, who is the founder and owner of Tamarind Translations. I'd now like to talk to Theo Marube, who is the managing director and can tell us more about what it takes to find capacity in order to facilitate such a large number of translators and interpreters and to bring them together on such a mammoth event. Let's talk to Theo now. Welcome, Theo. Thank you for joining us. Let's begin with, where are all these interpreters and translators coming from?
I'm happy to say that these are local resources. They're based in Kenya, and this is a culmination of all the work we've done since 2008, because we have been recruiting them and ensuring that we have the best that can handle such high-level events.
And when you talk about Anglophone countries and those that have come here together, and you say the main translation that you're doing is French and English, so how difficult is it for you to accommodate the vast numbers of people that we have?
French and English obviously are the official languages of this conference, but most of the time we have many more languages, and our capacity is such that depending on the needs of the conference in question, we are actually able to put together the teams required. So we have a very good database of these experts who are locally based, and depending on what the customer requires, we are then able to actually put them together and run an event of this magnitude.
Okay, and a lot of people wonder that how quick do these people have to be while somebody is speaking to be able to keep on translating so the person hearing doesn't have a gap. What are the greatest challenges that they face?
Absolutely. our translators obviously are professional translators, and they're very much trained and experienced in simultaneous interpretation. But obviously we have challenges from time to time when, for example, some presenters have to speak very fast, or maybe some people have accents that we can't quite pick. So I think this comes with experience and training, and we have a very clear brief that the most important thing is to always get the message across. You do not have to go or get word by word. You have just try to synthesize and understand what the person is saying, so that then you sort of run with them. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Theo, for speaking to us today.
I thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us.
That was Theo Marube, the Managing Director of Tamarind Translations. As you've heard, of course, you need to keep up with the speakers. You need to make sure you're delivering the message clearly, because communication is very much key when it comes to achieving the aims and ambitions of this mammoth conference that we're having right now in Nairobi, the Blue Economy Conference 2018. Back to you in studio.